One really common question I get is about knowing what to paint. Not necessarily a situation where maybe an artist has no idea what they want to do when they sit down at the easel, but rather that situation where you constantly feel torn as far as what you should do. This can also look like worrying that something that you might like to make isn't something that someone else wants to hang in their house. Or maybe you get yourself in the situation often where you see artists routinely selling certain kinds of paintings and you think, well, I could make that. What if I just switched what I was doing so that I could make that work that I know people want to buy? Or to put it another way, how can you trust that if you paint something that's exciting to you, that it's going to be exciting to others? So that's exactly what we're going to talk about here today. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Chelsea. I am a full-time professional fine artist. I specialize in expressive oil portraits, and I create new videos every week so that you can learn to master your unique style of painting. If you enjoy this video or learn something cool, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. And if you especially enjoy my content and you would like some help reaching the next level with your painting practice, I do offer mentorships to help you reach your big painting goals. For more information on those, you can check out the information that I have listed down in the description, as well as the link to apply to see if we are a fit to work together. All right, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about how to know exactly what you should be painting. So I want to break this video down into a couple of parts. First, I want to talk about how you can figure out exactly what you are drawn to paint. And then from there, I want to change gears and explore how not to succumb to shiny object syndrome, or how to make sure that you aren't setting your sights too narrow and losing opportunities to connect with potential collectors. Now, for this video, you're gonna see me working on a recent charcoal portrait study, and I wanted to choose this topic to correspond with this drawing that you're seeing me make because these things actually really go hand in hand for me. Personally, I'm coming out of the winter months and associated winter productivity or lack thereof. Or to put it very bluntly, it's hard for me to get inspired in the winter. I don't have a ton of painting ideas, and that's okay. I don't need to be at peak creativity or productivity all of the time. That's just not reasonable. And so working on this particular piece is actually helping me to really give myself that space to not be at 100% and to kind of warm me back up into the kinds of paintings I'm excited to make. So if this sounds familiar, I really want to give you permission to not be working on your magnum opus all of the time. You can dial this back and work on simpler versions of what you are drawn to as a way to recharge or just keep your skills sharp between bigger, more ambitious projects, and that's okay. But to kick off, let's go ahead and talk about understanding what big ambitious projects you might be drawn to, and then we can from there go into kind of the situation that I'm in now and how you can tailor this to make it work for yourself. Or to put it more simply, once you know what big ambitious thing you really want to paint, what can you do to fill the gaps between those big projects and feel like you are still on track? So the very first thing that I would recommend that you do if you are not sure what you should really focus on in your painting is to put together a vision board. I have a few videos talking about vision boards on my channel, which I will make sure to go ahead and link for you. But to give you a quick overview, the purpose of a vision board is to go ahead and really put all of your favorite paintings in one place. I personally like to do this in 2 stages. So I have like a master inspiration board or a master vision board for what I'm really drawn to as a painter. This includes basically any kind of artwork goes on this board. It doesn't matter whether I personally want to make it or not. If it inspires me, if I'm really drawn to it, it goes in this sort of master repository that I can refer to. Then from there, I take a look at that board and I ask myself, if I had to choose only the pieces on here that I personally feel like I could not live without being able to make, what would those pieces be? And I put those pieces on a second curated down inspiration board. And this is the one that will really act as my vision board that drives my work. If you'd like more details about how this works, I have a free hour-long masterclass that I will link down in the description that goes over exactly how I do this exercise. And then once I have all of these pieces in one place, that is that curated inspiration board, what happens is that I can actually look at this and really quickly, at a glance, see the things that I'm drawn to over and over again. I can see the kinds of compositions, I can see the subject matter, I can see the paint application technique or the texture of the mark making, I can see the looseness or simplicity in the drawing, I can see color harmony, I can see value structure. And if I can quantify all of those things, if I can take something that feels really ephemeral and subjective as far as like my emotional experience of looking at a piece and distill it down to the physical properties of the piece that take me to that place emotionally, then I can start to figure out how to do that in my own work. If you want a breakdown of how you can take the key patterns that you see on your vision board and start to apply them to your own work, check out the link to my previous video on this that I will put in the upper right-hand corner. Now, once you actually know what to do, you know what subjects, you know what techniques you are really drawn to, you should be able to look at this vision board and have a really clear idea of what actually inspires you. You should look at this board and think, I cannot wait to paint something like this, and start to get the gears turning on how you can plan the kinds of photo shoots that you would need or what you would have to do in order to start making these paintings yourself. So on my vision board, I see a lot of really painterly, loose portraiture. I see images of dancers, I see images of horses. I don't see a lot of really complex pieces as far as intricate backgrounds or really expansive like still life or anything like that. It typically really focuses on the subject and the background is minimal or it's been vignetted. If you look at your vision board and you don't feel this inspiration, it means somewhere along the way, we have gone off track. So if you look at your board and you don't feel that sense of inspiration, I would really challenge you to go back to that master inspiration board and genuinely ask yourself what you would be most excited to make, and make whatever revisions you have to until you get to the point where when you look at your curated down inspiration board or vision board, you feel like you have a sense of exactly what it is that you want to do. Once you're here, the next thing that can sometimes happen for painters is that you look at your board, you get excited, you have a sense of something you want to do, but you have this fear of missing out, or you have a sense of, let's call it shiny object syndrome, where you say, well, this is great, but I live in a touristy town and all the work that sells locally are these like marina paintings or like seascapes or wildlife pieces, or there's this one artist who does really well here who does like these abstract acrylic pour paintings, and I think I could do those things, so should I be including those on the board? And in my experience, I think every single time this has come up from a painter, it comes from a place of wanting to sell work or wanting to make work that people want to have in their homes, regardless of whether or not it has like a business goal attached to it. It can simply be making pieces that you think your family would want to proudly display in their houses. But whatever the case, it comes from this place of worrying that what's exciting for you just won't be exciting for other people. And I want to tell you right now, that is true. Like, I don't know a single person for whom something that they find really exciting is actually something that every single other person on Earth finds exciting. If you want to make art, it's gonna be boring or disinteresting to somebody. And that's just the nature of the beast. And typically, when we really tap into what we're really passionate about, it's so specific. It's such a targeted reflection of who we are that we, in the process of getting that clear, weed out more and more people. But the people who are left, they are going to be obsessed with your work, because it is something authentic, it's something unique, it's something they don't see every day, because most other people have the same apprehensions you do and don't want to make something that they worry won't resonate, but also the kind of art we make is so specific to ourselves and our lives and our stories, and those things just are going to be different from person to person. And that's what makes art so special and so beautiful. So if you have a sense of what you are genuinely drawn to on your vision board, and it gets you really excited, don't worry about including other things on there just because you think they might be commercially viable or that they'll have a general kind of appeal. Now, one sort of caveat to this is that if you have your vision board ready to roll and you say, this is great, but it's missing something specific that I'm really drawn to. Let's use my board as an example here. Let's say that, granted that my board has a lot of portraits on it, let's say that there was like a specific dancer painting that I wanted to make, and I just didn't have that many examples of the kind of dancer composition that I wanted to make. Well, I already know that I can paint this subject and have it really match with this style. And so what makes sense from here is for me to intentionally seek out the kind of missing link in my board. It's really helpful to let this vision board serve as a visual guide for any kind of challenge you might face compositionally in your paintings. Maybe for you, you're drawn to really colorful landscapes and expressive portraits, but you'd really like to paint outdoor figures and you want to combine both elements of what you respond to from your vision board. If that's the case, it would really benefit you to take the time to do some research, ask around, and look for artists who are painting the kind of outdoor figures that combine the elements that you love from the artists that are already on your vision board. Now, really quickly, I want to say one more thing about, that anxiety about whether or not the work will sell. I think this is really common for portrait painters in particular. And the most common question I get here is, well, I've been told that people don't buy portraits and I don't really want to do commissions, so I think I should just be a still life painter or a landscape painter. This is really, really common advice, and this was advice that was given to me. And incidentally, the pieces that I have made that sell the quickest and most easily have been portraits. So don't worry, this is not a universal truth. And the way that you can test this is if you look at your vision board and you see overwhelmingly portraits or another subject that you feel worried that people just won't be drawn to, or a style you worry people won't be drawn to, ask yourself, if you could, would you buy all the pieces that you have on this vision board and, happily hang them in your home? Chances are the answer to that question is yes. I mean, maybe you wouldn't have every single piece on your board, but by and large, if you look at these pieces and you want to have them, someone else is going to feel the exact same way. If you make the work that you're genuinely excited about and you have consistency in that work, and you're regularly at a quality that you're really excited by, and you're connected to what you're making, you feel a passion for what you're making, all that's left is to figure out how to put that in front of the right people. And that is a much, much easier thing than learning how to paint the way that you really want to paint. So applying this to my own work, this year I have some ideas for some things that I want to paint. They aren't super crystallized yet, and even if they were, I would rather unveil them to you in a YouTube video that showcases the final piece. But hopefully, the little clips you've gotten of my vision board can kind of give you an idea of where I would really like to take my work this coming year. That being said, I haven't had a lot of energy or inspiration over the past few months to gather the reference and do the planning necessary for those pieces. So in the meantime, I've focused on smaller ways in which I can continue to further my skill set. And I've talked about this quite a bit recently on my channel. I've been really enjoying doing these charcoal studies and learning to capture a likeness more quickly, more efficiently, more accurately, to have block-ins that are more beautiful and more elegant, so that instead of having a block-in that kind of looks like a third grader did it, and then somehow turning that into a really beautiful painting, there's beauty that I'm enjoying throughout the entire start to finish process. That's not necessary, but it's something that's exciting to me. And there are little aspects of how I can use these charcoal drawings that I know are going to translate into my painting in a way that is bigger than just my accuracy or my speed in getting a likeness down. There's elements of really understanding the form and the edges and being able to play with the mark making. And I still have a long way to go. I don't know any artist who is ever just done and not learning. But knowing where I really want to go in the grand scheme of things can help me to make sure that the little efforts that I'm putting today are keeping me on track. All right, that is it for this week's video. If you enjoyed what we talked about here today, please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you would like this kind of help to reach your painting goals, and if you want my feedback to make sure that you are on track and doing the best possible things that you can to ensure that you reach your most exciting painting goals, I would love to hear from you. So again, make sure to check out the link to apply to see if we are fit to work together down in the description. All right, until next time, happy painting.